Gerry Lee Hunt was born January 27th, 1945 at 7:30 a.m. in American Falls, Idaho. It was wartime, and Dad was serving in Egypt. Shortly after she was born, 6 days in fact, Gerry started the travels that would be a staple in the early chapters of her life. She and Mom went to care for Dad in Spokane, Washington after he was injured. Gerry was my first babysitting job. I was 5. Mom told me to watch her and Merlin while she ran to the store really quick. She slept the whole time Mom was gone, so I just played with Merlin, but I was the babysitter. We moved around quite a bit with Dad in the military and lived in lots of places. As my brother and sisters were cleaning out Gerry's home, getting it ready to sell, comments were made about all the stuff that was found. When my little sister Tammy asked Gerry about it, this is what she said: "I like my stuff. Every time we moved, I always had to give up my stuff. Once Dad even took my doll away and told me I couldn't take her with me. I cried and cried for days. Now I can keep whatever I want." As you may know, Gerry loved bright, beautiful colors. Gerry discovered this love when she was about 5. She had disappeared, and we searched everywhere for her. She and her friend had found a can of bright green paint and had painted her brand new white shoes green. She loved them, but Mom cried. We lived in an old home in Corvallis, Oregon. There was a big hedge in between us and the neighbors. It had an arch cut through so we could visit back and forth. Gerry's best friend lived there. Our neighbors got the mumps or the measles, I don't remember which, and we were told we couldn't go over there until they got well. Well, Gerry and her friend got as close to each other under that hedge gate as they could without actually going to each other's place. They told Mom that they were just visiting. Guess who got sick? All of us. Later on, we all got glandular fever and were quarantined in our home. Yes, they really did used to do that. All of our beds were moved into the living room to make it easier to care for us. The county nurse came and stayed with us. She spent most of her time with Gerry, who was extremely ill, and Mom said she saved Gerry's life. If you can believe it, Gerry had a hard time learning to read. She was failing 2nd grade and had a teacher who said she did not have the time to spend with her. Mom refused to accept that and read to her and drilled her constantly. We all know what happened after that. Gerry's house had more books than the public library. Books became her best friends, and she loved them. In 1953, Gerry was baptized in Japan. She had to be baptized at the mission home in Tokyo because there wasn't any other font. She went to church and school on Tachikawa Air Force Base. Gerry had one bad habit that I'll tell you about. It really irked me. It seemed to me that every time we were supposed to do the dishes, she would disappear into the bathroom, and I was stuck doing them all alone. As soon as they were all done, here she would come, saying something like, "Well, I feel better now," or, "Wow, you're all done. I was going to help you." Yeah, right. Gerry loved to draw. She made house plans that you would have had to have been a billionaire to be able to build, but she enjoyed doing it. She had talked Mom into buying her one of those learn to draw courses that you get by mail. She was really good at drawing. When Gerry was 14, she dropped out of school for a couple of weeks to care for a new little sister. Mom was very ill. Dad was gone. So Gerry stayed home and cared for Utana and Mom. When Tammy was born, no one could decide on a name for her. In Dad's journal, she's referred to as Baby Girl. Gerry is the one who came up with Tamara, after watching Tammy and The Bachelor, I'm sure. She and Tammy always had a bond after that. In 1967, Gerry went on a mission to Ontario, Canada. Back then, it was not a common thing for young ladies to go on a mission, but Gerry was insistent that she needed to go. She had a very strong testimony of the church and knew without a doubt that it was true. She had great success on her mission and made several conversions. How could she not? This is the woman whose favorite song for years was My Testimony. Gerry was a faithful and devoted daughter of the Lord. She performed almost every church calling there was and did so in a loving and spiritual manner. I think her favorite was teaching primary. She did that for years and loved each child as if they were her own, and they loved her as well, judging from all the pictures and cards we found. Gerry moved to American Falls shortly after returning from her mission. She lived in a basement apartment in the beginning and got a job working at Davis Rose Mortuary. Sort of fitting that they should be the ones managing her service, don't you think? She later got a job with Falls Irrigation. She enjoyed her job immensely, most of the time, until she retired just over 10 years ago. I think the only reason she left is because she knew her memory was going. Gerry bought her little house on Falls Avenue in 1976. She was so proud of her house. She said that when she walked into it the first time, it felt as if she was coming home. She so enjoyed doing little things to decorate. I'm sure almost everyone here has experienced the measurement arch. It's a little arched doorway leading from the kitchen into the back of the house. Everyone who came, young or old, was measured on the wall, and the date and their name was placed by the mark. And then, of course, there was the bathroom. The favorite room in her house was the bathroom. Weird, I know, but she had so many pictures with little poems and sayings that there wasn't much wall not covered by something. As a child, Melanie loved sitting in the tub and just reading them all. One she remembered most of all said, I know I'm somebody because God don't make junk. She still thinks of that little quote when she's feeling down. I'm sure everyone has one that stuck in their minds, and no one was ever bored while sitting in there. In 1977, Utana came to live with Gerry for her last year of high school. Gerry introduced her to a young man named Michael Waddups, and as Gerry put it, you could see the sparks fly. Mike and Utana were later married. Gerry was very proud of that. In 1982, Mike and Utana moved back to American Falls. They ended up living with Gerry in her little house. They lived in the blue bedroom with their 3 children. Gerry was so patient with Utana's family. They were very poor, and she did whatever she could to help out. She would take them to yard sales and give each kid $1 to spend. When Utana was pregnant with their 4th child, she did not have a phone. Gerry worked across the park from where they lived, so a plan was developed between them. Utana would fly a flag if she needed help. Utana's family was not the only one she helped either. Gerry cared very deeply about people and had a very generous heart. She didn't make a lot of money and quite often had to go without things that are considered necessities in today's world. Things like a car or new clothes were luxuries for her. Gerry donated hours of her time and hard-earned money to help others enjoy learning to read and write. She also helped start the ESL program at ISU. She received an award from J.C. Penney Company for her efforts, along with making many good friends. She wrote a newsletter called The Ladybug, which evolved into Of Mind and Space. She published and sent these out to family members so they could keep up with what was happening in each other's lives and know what was happening in hers. She paid for this herself. Gerry loved babies, children, and animals. She would go through bags and bags of cat food, feeding the stray cats in her neighborhood. Needless to say, that caused some problems with the neighbors, but she refused to quit, even after the skunks moved in. Gerry had a great sense of humor and was a bit of a tease. When I was dating my husband, Gerry would watch out the window for him, and when she would see him, she would call, "Here comes Penny's little baby." Gerry always did things on her own timetable. She decided it was time to leave this existence on April 22nd, 2016 at 7:20 a.m. That way she could arrive at the same time she was born. She liked to be consistent like that. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Gerry. It sums her up well. Whenever I become stumped in my work and am frustrated and don't know what to do next, if I pray and ask God to help me see the problem or find a solution, then when I go back to the struggle, He helps me feel more calm and have more confidence. God helps me to see the problem and I am able to solve it and move on. When I struggle to learn and understand, if I ask Him, He opens my mind and helps me to see how it works. Then I can use it in my life for my own benefit or for someone else. When I am sincere in my requests, and I'm sure it is a good request, and if I ask for it earnestly, He usually provides what I ask for, just not always the way I expect. I've learned a good thing from God. I have observed that He provides for each of His children very individually, according to their needs, desires, and requests. He loves them as much as they will accept, but He, like us, appreciates and enjoys being praised and thanked for what He provides.